What's going on, guys? Lucky Brent here. Just going to do a review of the fantasy week from last weekend. So we ended up with 22-12, which I think is pretty solid for the amount of defenders that we had on strike on the weekend. So with Lloyd with his 48, and I had Sicily as well for his 50. That wasn't great on my behalf. Yeah, so considering all factors, to rise up 200 spots to about 3,600 was pleasing. Before the round, I was hoping for about 24, 25, but as I said, with the defenders not performing like they did, yeah, we'll take that. We'll take that. So, yeah, where to start? Obviously, the Doggies boys were fantastic, as I mentioned in my previous video. Yeah, Bontempelli looked like he could be anything at halftime. I think he had 75. Dunkley was fantastic, and then McRae had a fucking awesome second half and came home very strong for us with the 135. Again, like the thing from the last couple of weeks is I've had massive Sundays, so the second week of the bye period, my GWS boys, so Kelly, Taranto, they saved my weekend. Then last week, it was another Sunday that got me over the line. I think it was the Carlton Dogs game that got me Collingwood Dogs game that got me over the line last week. So McRae and Dunkley again, and Treloar, and obviously I had Captain Grundy, so that got me up in the ranking as well, and then this week was no different. So yeah, Sunday Dusty going the 128 was awesome. Stack hitting the 94 in defence, one of the three rookies, I guess you call him, yeah, that I have on field. Yeah, it was a positive weekend. So this week, I'm obviously nervous about Gorn. I think everyone's got him. What we do there is going to be interesting. Have a bit of a plan because I've got Darcy Fort on the bench. Downgrading him to whoever Sydney pick and ruck. They've got that kid they picked up in the mid-season draft that I'll be eyeing up, the 170k ruckman, and that'll give me enough cash to get Dersma up to like a Blakely, but I'm also thinking Hamish Hartlett. Very stoked with his form, obviously being out for 12 months with that knee. Yeah, no one wants to see that for one of your best players. So, yeah, stoked for Hamish. He's run into some good form. He's got the Crows this week. I don't think he'll play on like Betts, or he might play on Tom Lynch maybe. I think they'll give that role to Cleary maybe, with Jonas playing on Walker. So yeah, it might leave Hammer free to rack up a little bit down back, and so I might go down that route. And our draw doesn't look too bad for the rest of the year. If you listen to the Traders podcast, they just released a scale of hardness and for the rest of the year, which is worth taking a bit of a look at. I mean, if I can get to Hearn, I will, because West Coast have got a really good run going in, and so that'll involve, like, my midfield rookie is Oscar Baker that plays for the D's, so I'll probably downgrade him and move Stack into the midfield and find a rookie defender or something like that. That's if Gorn comes up, obviously. So yeah, that's kind of the play I'm thinking at the moment. Yeah, Oscar Baker to defence. There's a Giants defender, I think his name's Stein. I might bring him in for my bench and then get Dersma up to, yeah, the Blakeleys, the Hammers. Hammer has some good cash to make. Blakely has cash to make too, so can't really go wrong with either of those two. Hammer seems to be a bit more of a point of difference though, so yeah, I might opt to go down that route. And that will leave me playing Griffin Logue in defence, which, I mean, it isn't ideal, but sometimes you just have to deal. The other option would be to get Naish off the bench in defence and take him down to a rookie in defence if a 170k defender comes up on Thursday night. That could be an option as well. So I've still got to keep cash generation going. So I've got Logue on the bench. I've got Oscar Baker making money. I've got Hind in the midfield and Bewley in the midfield as well that are being solid cash cows. Creeping up the 25k at a time, and so I'm not too unhappy with the roles they're playing. Bewley always looks like he's on the edge or on the cusp of being dropped, and it was always the fear with Harley Bennell in behind that he might get dropped. I did hear my forward line rookies are probably the weakest line that I've got. I've been stuck with Robbie Young from St Kilda, who could make a reappearance. I mean, he wasn't great, but there is potential with that Saints squad that he could still come in and fill a role. So that's an option. I've got Cameron from West Coast who got the 29 last week. I think there's an injury cloud worry there. I didn't see the West Coast game on the weekend, or I saw bits and pieces. So I can't confirm whether he was injured or not. Obviously, I've got Danger in the forward line as well, and his year has been as such that's not 100% reliable either. So, we're going to have to suck it and see on Thursday night, aren't we, guys? Gawn's the big one. If he goes down and Sydney don't name a ruckman, then I could be in some strife. I mean, Gawn sounds like a week-to-week proposition, so I think if you can hold him, I think you probably should. Sinclair seems to go all right for Sydney. He has sort of hits and misses. So if they play a young fella and they utilise him in a similar role to Sinclair, could snag a couple of goals and be quite competitive. So that should be good for at least over 50. So I'll probably opt to take that. Obviously, my main concern this week is getting Dersmer off ground. His break even's 102 now. He's been fantastic, not only for Port but in the cash generation stakes of AFL Fantasy as well. He's just been awesome. We'll be looking to move him on this week and shore up the defence a little bit, even if it means that I've got to go Griffin Logue. My other option is to trade out Sicily as well, because Sicily's in really, really poor form. And that's been I got him in over the trade week, and his first week in my team he played forward, and he really hasn't looked the same since they did that. So it's going to be an interesting week fantasy wise. I'll keep you updated towards the end of the week on how I go. Captain wise, I'm looking at Dusty. Sorry, I went Danger last week, and that was just fantastic, wasn't it? Dusty this week against the Gold Coast, fantastic record. I think he's had a 180 in the last 3 games that he's played against them, and I'll be looking to go him as captain, and just sort of, pray that he ties one on. He was so good on the weekend against St Kilda, and if he can snag 4 goals and get 25 plus, laughing boys, laughing. So that's basically my round wrap up. As I said, I'm about 3,600 at the moment, which is the highest I've ever been ranked. I've always sort of like last year I screwed up the bye rounds pretty badly, and was sitting around the 5,000 mark, and blew out to 15,000 by the end of the year. So this year I was sitting around the 5,500 mark going into the buys, and managed to sort my shit out a little bit better this year. So yeah, went from 5,500 to or 5,000 to about 38 over the buy period. So yeah, still looking inside the top 4% of the competition, which is solid. I've got the team that can tie one on towards the end of the year, and yeah, I just need some of my primos, especially my defenders, let me down this week, so I'll be looking for a response from them. There were a couple of times where I had Jake Lloyd as my rage trade, just to send a bit of a message, and the way that looked was I went the Jake Lloyd down to Hamish Hartlett, and then took Dersmer up to Shannon Hearn, and that didn't look too bad, to be honest. But I think you got to keep him in for the long term with Jake Lloyd, because he's such a prolific scorer, and historically his matches against the Gold Coast haven't been great. So it was as expected, pretty much. Yeah, so that's kind of the plan. It'll leave me with stacking the midfield and Griffin Logue as my only playing defender that's a rookie. So that's really positive. I'm edging closer to that full team mark. Bewley with another week under his belt should get over that 300k mark, and hopefully Essendon bring in Will Snelling. That's kind of the in I'm waiting on at the moment, is for that boy to get a chance, because he's been tearing it up he tore it up in the SANFL locally here, and then got picked up by the Bombers in the mid-season, then he's tore it up in the VFL as well. So he's definitely an AFL class player, and should be getting a gig. So if Will Snelling comes in this week, it'll make my trades interesting. I think I'll opt to go Bewley down to Snelling, and keep him on the bench, and still have Oscar Baker on the field, and then drag Dersmer up to the Hamish Harletts, Connor Blakely's, as discussed before. Yeah, so that's a bit of a round wrap. Looking forward to team selection on Thursday. I'll put up a vid tomorrow about a showdown preview. Obviously, that's the biggest thing to happen in our state for the round this week, and I get the chance to go as well. So that's going to be interesting. The last time I went to an away showdown, we knocked off the Crows in the last showdown at Football Park, and that was just a fantastic day. So away showdowns haven't been the greatest for us the last couple of years. So yeah, hopefully the right type of Port Adelaide comes out, and I'm expecting about 5 changes from us this week. Seems a bit reactionary, but yeah, there's a few kids that need to make way for some solid bodies, and we really need to give this one a crack. So yeah, fingers crossed, boys, for a good selection week, and yeah, hopefully Gorn gets up. Cool. That's the video for today, guys. Stay tuned to the channel. Subscribe or follow me on Twitter at LuckyBrent18. I'll give you a heads up on when I'm going to be uploading and all that type of stuff, and yeah, we'll go from there. Cool. Take care, guys. Catch you. Bye.